Back with you on a Friday. Josh Rosenberg and Sherrod Williams here on your Chargers, Lakers, and Aztec station. The talk of the town this week has been Replaygate. Let me just simplify Replaygate. J.J. DeLuigi fumbles. Refs miss the call. Coach Hoke challenges. Coach Hoke loses challenge. Aztecs lose game. Replay official worked for BYU. It's that simple. That will create anger in the Aztecs community. Now joining us is the athletic director for San Diego State, Jim Sterk. Jim, as always, we do appreciate the time. How have you been?
Good, Josh. Thanks for having me on, and I'm just sorry I couldn't have the Poway sushi if that's the right day. I guess I'm the wrong day. Yeah.
You missed it by one day, but next time we'll have you back in studio.
Okay.
It's great to have you, Jim. Unfortunately, under these circumstances where a lot of people are so upset about Replaygate, what was your initial reaction when you did find out that a BYU employee was working as an official?
Well, yeah, I was shocked actually, and we had obviously I had communicated with the commissioner right after the game, and he was stating that it was being reviewed, and the head official was looking at it, or supervisor of officials, and so then Sunday we got some information, and then Monday talked live again, and it just it really surprised me because it came down to in that the replay official is saying that he never saw it. The communicator and the technician, they are supposed to tee it up and so, for the replay official, and so it just surprised me that 2 days later I find out he's a video coordinator for the athletics department, and then the technician is a BYU alum, and it just obviously that raised the question when there's human error was the response that I got from the conference, and so that is what we President Weber was great and talked to the commissioner, and I talked to them yesterday, and then we had a conference call yesterday, and which set up the AD's meeting this morning on the phone and to talk about the issue, and so that occurred, and basically the result is that no athletics department or university employee will be in that communicator's role, or alum will be in that communicator's role. The technician is more of, making sure that things are plugged in and all of those types of things, and making sure things are working. But that communicator's role is a role that they feed the information to the video coordinator.
Jim, do you see any possibility of this becoming more than just a Mountain West thing, and maybe the NCAA looking into it and making a nationwide change?
Well, it's probably more of a conference by conference. It's kind of the rules that fall under the conference realm, and so I think everyone, all the conferences are looking at what their policies are and what occurs there, because it could happen in any situation like that. But it was just surprising, to be in that situation. I was surprised that a staff member was allowed to be in that role, because we're, as ADs, we're not allowed in that booth. No one's really allowed in that booth. It's the most sacred place in the press box. You guys aren't allowed in there. I'm not allowed in there. So I think it's just good for the game, and it's good for college football just to make that separation.
Aztecs AD Jim Sterk, nice enough to join us on Extra Sports. Jim, I got to ask you, I wonder if this happened against New Mexico or Colorado State or Wyoming, if it would have caused such an uproar. But this is BYU. This is in Provo. These are our rivals, and this is the last conference game we will ever have against BYU. Do you think all of that added fuel to the fire?
Well, it adds to the mystery. I mean, and the intrigue, because BYU was 1-4 at that point. We started off slow. They were controlling the game. We only had it 15 minutes. Who knows where the game would have gone, but at that point in time, it was a critical time. They scored 5 plays later, and then we scored again, but we end up losing by 3. So, that adds to it. They then play TCU next, so they could have been 1-5, 1-6, for the first time ever in their history probably. And so that falls, and the conference assures me that this person, actually the communicator is a person that the conference uses for bowls and all of that, but it just puts them in a bad spot, and it shouldn't be he shouldn't be in that kind of role to be in that bad spot.
How stronger do you think you'll continue to carry out this whole thing with this controversy? Because eventually it's going to have to be a distraction to the team, no?
Well, it is a distraction and has been, and Brady does a good job of preparing the team, and so he's moving them on, and that's what we talked about last night of they're moving on. Leave it up to the president and me to deal with this, and the coaches and everyone have to focus on playing a great Air Force team tomorrow, and that's going to be a great game, and I think we have a great shot at winning that, and I just encourage people to come because this team is 2 plays away from being undefeated, type of thing, and so I think we have a very good team. They're getting better, and I think they're worth the support of the San Diego community.
Absolutely, 3-2 going into the homecoming game. Could have been undefeated, like you said. And Jim, we're fans, so we get upset. We're on the radio, so we have people calling the show and emailing the show with angry responses. But when you speak to people who are in charge, the professionals, the other ADs around the conference, or the president of the university, Stephen Weber, what is the interaction like?
Well, I think President Weber was very upset and really called the question and that this policy and the integrity of the Mountain West is called into question and so we needed to deal with that, and I think the ADs took good action today to do that, and in the other ADs, I think a lot of them they were surprised to find out that there was an employee in that role. Some of them knew that there were people involved, but only one school, BYU, had them in that communicator's role, and so I think we took proper action today, so it doesn't happen the rest of the season, and we'll look at the rest of our officials' assignments and making sure that those kinds of things don't happen again.
Now, Jim, I know you guys don't have an employee of the school in your video booth, but was that by design, or was that just more of a coincidence?
Well, someone else, actually the conference hires them, so that's the other irony of this, is the conference hires those people.
Really?
Yeah, they do, and so it's not BYU hiring them, but that's where I felt the conference needed to change its policy, and what we did today corrects that, but it was just surprising, I think, for most of the ADs in the league to find out that was allowed. And I don't think it should be. Even if the person's the greatest person in the world, it puts them in a difficult situation.
Do the apologies, suspensions mean anything to you? Because now I'm upset with the conference hearing you say that. I'm a little more upset with the conference than I am with BYU when you tell me that it's the conference who put those guys in the booth. But does anything cause the pain to weaken?
No, it doesn't. There's kind of some satisfaction that you maybe corrected something so it doesn't happen again. But you still, it just burns a long time, and it eats at you, because we've got a bunch of young men out there and coaches that are working their butts off to win games and represent San Diego and San Diego State very, very well, and they're playing very well, and they're that close to being a great team, and I think they need to focus on the rest of the season, but all of us fans and you guys can lament for a long time afterwards.
And we absolutely
I've heard you. I listen to you guys, so it's tough, but at some point you gotta move on. But it's still at the end of the season you look at it and you go, oh crap! If we would have had that, had that back, I'd love to have that back and see what happened.
Jim, I know there's no way, like you said, no way to really soften this or fix it, but I want to go back to this conference call this morning that you had. After you had it, you got off the phone, did you and President Weber, did you feel at least good as far as getting your point out there? Do you feel like it's you got something out of the call?
Yes, yeah, because we did take action, and that person, we won't have an alum or a staff member in that role, so that won't happen again. At least we corrected the action, so that we're not in this situation again in the future with the league.
Was the call ever contentious? Did it ever get like a little edgy at any point?
A little, not. For the most part, no, but just how far do you take it? Someone
Right.
brought up the point of okay, do we look at volleyball and the officiating in volleyball and where what's going on with that? And obviously in football is the only one where we have replays where that comes into play, except basketball, and the officials just look at the monitor in that case, and they work with a technician. So there's no go between, and maybe we get to the pro model where the guy goes over and the referee takes a look at it, or the umpire, and takes a look at it on the screen themselves, and not have a guy in between. Maybe that's where college goes. I don't know, but right now this is a system, and we've got to make it work the best it can be.
Absolutely. He is the Aztecs' new AD, Jim Sterk. Jim, before you go, on a positive note, we'll be out there tomorrow for homecoming against Air Force. How special is this going to be? Describe some of the festivities.
Well, it is a great day, and Leon Parma's he's bringing back his 1950-51 team there, and I think there's 14 or more of the team. Maybe they'll run a play. He said he did it a couple years ago at the Red and Black game, so maybe they'll run another play out of it.
Very nice.
But I told him I'd pull a hamstring if it was me, and he says we weren't going fast enough to do that. But they're going to be out there, and he's the honor warrior for the day, and we'll throw down the spear. And I challenged him I told Marshall Falk that Leon was going to throw it better than him. But we've had last night we had the dedication kind of the trolley, the Aztec for Life trolley that has the celebrities basically from San Diego State, and it's on the line, and they were there and dedicated it, and it was great. Steven Strasberg was there, and Marshall and a number of others, and it was really a neat event, and there's reunions going on with classes, and then at the game the Warrior Walk, if people can get there early, 3:00, that's a neat thing. I think it's Section F. Let the players off and walk past the drum line, and friends and family and fans, and it's a neat thing, and it's a neat way to send those guys into battle, and so that'll be fun. And then it's Fleet Week. We've got that going on too. I think there's a flyover. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Very, very cool. I'm looking forward to it. Jim, great to have you on the show. We do appreciate the time. It's still early. A lot of football to play.
Yeah, it is, and that's what Brady reminded the team after the game, that we signed up for 12. We have 12 guaranteed opportunities, and we've gone through we've gone through the wars, and we're 3-2. We've got 7 games left and guaranteed, and they certainly want to go to an eighth game. So that's what the goal is, and that's what we intend to do. And I think we have a fun team to watch. They're a great team, so it'll be fun.
No doubt about it.
Indeed.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
Absolutely.